We walk through life wanting to be accepted, right? Whether we realize it or not, trying to gain acceptance is a lot like maintaining balance on a balance beam. To get out there, we must create this perfectly presented version of us, the version we think that people want us to be. That kind of pressure can eventually get too heavy to carry, and it can be difficult to stay balanced when we're weighed down by so much. Every weight that we put on ourselves is something that we hope will change the way that people see us. Even if it's hard to manage, even if we can't carry it all, even if it throws our whole lives out of balance, we load ourselves up and walk around weighed down by the pressure of trying to elevate ourselves in the minds of people around us. Eventually, it gets too hard and too heavy to carry. Jesus saw firsthand that people were walking around with all sorts of heavy weights, and he wanted to help them carry that weight. And he said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." When Jesus began, he was talking to people who were worn out, stressed out, and exhausted from the weight of the world that they were carrying. And what did Jesus tell us to do when we feel worn out by the weight of pride in our lives? He said, "Come to me." He said, "Come to him." Jesus wants you to give up the balancing act. Lay down the pressure you feel and give everything that you're carrying over to him at the foot of the cross. When we do, we find rest. Then Jesus said something kind of weird. In Matthew 11:29, he said, "Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will have rest for your souls." See, yoke is a harness that went over two animals, and this helped them to share the load of whatever they were carrying or pulling. Jesus has given you an invitation to follow him, to choose humility over pridefulness and find rest when you do. But this isn't always easy. In fact, it takes a lot of courage to lay down the carefully created version of yourself and that pride that tells you to protect it. Today, I want to challenge us all to do two things: be brave and be humble. Be brave and be humble. Well, how do we start doing that? Well, first, like I said, we need to lay down that weight to Jesus. We need to trust him enough to hand over those insecurities and that pride. And that can be hard. Humility requires you to be brave, and that can be scary. Remember, you're not doing this alone. You have adults like a parent or a guardian or a teacher or your pastor to support you and encourage you to trust God to lead you. Today, my prayer is that we would resist the pressure to be who other people want us to be, that we would let Jesus carry our burdens and give us rest, that we would choose to be brave and be humble right now as middle schoolers. Thank you guys for tuning in this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Go out there and be brave and be humble.